Before any machine starts humming, the story of this factory begins here, in the eye of a wild bear. In a remote northern forest, brown bears roam through dense pines and mossy ground, far from any city or shopping mall. They feed, play, and compete along icy rivers, perfectly adapted to a cold, rugged climate.
Every paw step is built for strength and insulation, with thick skin and dense fur protecting the animal from extreme conditions.
Yet from the edge of this wilderness, human eyes are already tracking which bears will begin a very different journey.
Deep inside a guarded complex, that journey leads to a high-tech bear leather factory very few outsiders are allowed to see.
Here, every single bear is tracked in a database, from the day it's tagged in the forest to the day its hide is turned into material.
The result is one of the most closely monitored animal materials on Earth, destined for very expensive products.
When processed correctly, dense bear hide becomes a tough, luxurious leather with a unique grain and insulating properties.
It's used in cold weather jackets, heavy-duty boots, statement furniture, and even specialty vehicle interiors.
Today you'll see 3 Mon stages: how grizzly bears are raised and handled, and how their hides are transformed.
The path spans forests, reserves, airfields, and secure industrial zones, all linked in one traceable chain. We'll step inside the giant drums that tan the hides and into the quiet labs that test the final leather. We'll watch high-precision lasers carve this rare material into pieces for jackets, bags, and seats.
And we'll see how the finished pieces are protected and shipped to customers who may never imagine the journey behind them.
But to understand this factory, you first have to understand the animal it depends on.
So we start far from the factory gates, in a managed habitat built around the natural life of the brown bear.
This is not a typical farm, but a vast, controlled reserve where bears live with space to roam.
The climate is cold for much of the year, which keeps their dense fur and hides in prime condition.
Under layers of rough guard hairs and softer underfur, the bear's hide is thick and remarkably tough.
In the reserve, bears can swim, dig, play, and rest, behaviors that keep their muscles and skin healthy. A dedicated veterinary team runs regular health checks, vaccinations, and emergency care when needed. Each bear is tagged and logged with ID, age, weight history, and medical records.
Sheltered dens give them dry, insulated spaces that mimic natural winter dens in the wild.
Even simple behaviors like rubbing on trees help keep their skin in good condition and shed old fur. Around the edges, multiple layers of fencing and patrols separate the bears' world from the outside.
Cameras and GPS collars let staff watch over the bears without constantly disturbing them.
Most days here are quiet, filled with slow routines that keep the animals strong.
Age groups are managed separately, so mature, heavier bears can be selected without disturbing younger ones.
This gate marks the area where bears are eventually moved from the reserve into the industrial chain.
To reach it, specialized teams have to travel in from the distant factory, planning each transfer carefully.
They bring data on which bears are approved for collection based on age, health, and conservation quotas.
At the reserve, security and veterinary teams cross-check documents before anyone approaches the animals.
Instead of chasing, they use modular fencing to gently guide the bear into a smaller, controlled area.
Food rewards are placed to encourage the bear to walk calmly into a transfer pen on its own.
Once inside, the pen is closed with solid gates, keeping the animal secure without loud shocks or alarms.
Vets watch the bear closely, ready to stop the process if anything looks wrong.
The rest of the group remains in the habitat, while only the chosen animals progress to the next stage.
As soon as the bears are secured, the air crew is notified to prepare a cargo aircraft.
Every transfer starts with custom heavy-duty crates designed specifically for adult bears. Each crate has a steel skeleton, non-slip rubber floor, and a front door that locks with bright orange latches.
These same grey, steel-framed, orange latch crates are brought right to the collection zone.
A tunnel connects pen to crate, so the bear can simply walk forward into the transport box.
Guided by scent and food, the bear moves into the crate under its own power.
Once the bear is fully inside, the orange latch door is shut and secured.
Ground crews move each crate carefully up the ramp into a fixed slot in the cargo bay.
Inside, every crate is bolted to rails and tied down so it cannot shift during flight.
When the last crate is secured, the ramp closes and the aircraft is sealed for departure. The grizzly bears leave their forested valley by air, bound for the industrial side of their story.
In flight, the cabin stays pressurized and climate-controlled much like a passenger plane.
From here, the bears experience mostly darkness and steady hums, minimizing stress before arrival.
Even at the airport, unloading happens in a quiet corner away from crowds and noise.
Within minutes, the convoy reaches the secured compound, where the bears will be processed. This part of the facility is dedicated entirely to receiving and handling live bears.
The orange latch is released, and for the first time since the flight, the bear can step out.
Runoff passes through filters before being treated, so hair and dirt never reach the main drains.
Within minutes, the bears are visibly cleaner and more comfortable.
As the bear steps onto the metal plate, high-capacity load cells capture its exact weight.
From the scale, bears move into clean holding pens, where they rest while paperwork and further checks are completed.
Veterinary staff monitor them here, ensuring they have recovered from travel and showers.
From this point forward, the story we follow continues with their hides, now prepared for industrial tanning.
These hides are the starting raw material for the high-tech leather process inside the factory.
First, skilled workers inspect each bear hide for thickness, scars, and overall quality.
Mechanical gauges and experienced hands check that the hide is thick enough for heavy-duty products.
Ragged edges are trimmed away to create more uniform, rectangular shapes for later processing.
From here, the hides move into a salting stage that preserves them until tanning begins. A thick layer of salt pulls moisture out, preventing bacterial growth.
For a day or two, the salted hides rest in cold storage to stabilize before further work. This stage prepares the dense bear hide fibers to take up tanning agents evenly.
The result is a cleaner, smoother underside that will later become the interface of the leather. The core of the process happens inside huge, rotating tanning drums. As the drum turns, the solution penetrates deep into the dense bear hide, stabilizing it against rot. Technicians adjust drum speed, temperature, and time to suit the specific feel they want in the final leather. Sample pieces are pulled mid-process to check how far the tanning reaction has progressed. After tanning, the The hides are drained and allowed to rest to equalize moisture.
Already, the once raw hide has turned into a flexible, durable material that no longer behaves like fresh skin.
Splitting machines then divide the thick bear hide into layers for different product types.
The top grain layer will be used for visible outer surfaces, while the split supports linings and hidden parts.
Shaving machines adjust thickness to within fractions of a millimeter across the entire hide.
Inline scanners map thickness, letting operators spot any thin patches instantly. If the leather is to be colored, dyes are added in a second drum process. After dyeing, hides are stretched on frames and dried in controlled warm air tunnels. Slow, even drying prevents warping and helps the grain surface stay smooth.
Staking machines massage the dried leather to break stiffness and create a softer hand feel.
By now, the material no longer looks like raw hide, but like the thick, premium leather it has become.
The next haul turns flat sheets of leather into precise panels for different products.
Cameras and software map scars and natural marks, then nest pattern pieces around them to minimize waste.
Computer-controlled knives slice out jacket fronts, sleeves, and collars with millimeter accuracy.
Smaller sections are allocated to boots, gloves, and reinforcing patches, so almost nothing is discarded.
In the sewing area, heavy-duty machines join the panels with strong, weather-resistant thread.
The largest, cleanest sections of hide become upholstery for seats and furniture, where large panels are prized.
Even offcuts are turned into smaller accessories to make use of the remaining bear leather.
Boots are shaped with inserts and wrapped to protect the leather during long transport.
Large upholstery rolls are packed in protective film and labeled for furniture makers and vehicle plants. Behind the scenes, a lab constantly tests leather samples for strength, color fastness, and chemical safety.
Tensile testers pull strips until they stretch and nearly break, measuring how the leather will hold up in real life.
Once cleared, pallets are loaded into trucks that will distribute them to warehouses and retailers worldwide.
To the wearer, it's just a warm jacket on a cold morning, rarely connected back to a specific animal.
Or it's a pair of boots that shrug off snow and ice thanks to the dense, durable bear leather shell.
From a remote habitat to a secret high-tech factory and into everyday life, this is the million-dollar